Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wan Nurliyana Izyan, Binti Bakar, and I will present my 3 articles related to business ethics. My first article is business ethics article, ethics in the workplace. This article describes about business ethics in the workplace according to the article I read. A good example, a new way in training improves workplace ethics are the ethics in the workplace in this article. The first ethic in the workplace is that it serves as a good example. Consider taking, for example, Enron. Other activities of Enron CEO an example of ethical behavior? No, they were. However, a classic example of two things. For one thing, those behavior demonstrated that ethics were not being applied in any way. Two, their act portrayed a black and realistic image of what might occur when ethics are disregarded. There would have been no crisis if the company official had considered ethics in the first place. There would be no controversies if ethics were practiced on a regular basis in every organization. Secondly, a new way. The concept of ethics is making a resurgence to begin with an increasing number of business and business people are understanding that ethics are not checked at the door when they enter the office. Ethics are just as important in the public as they are in the private. How is it that you should have different sets of ethics depending on whether you're talking about your personal life and your professional life? The truth is that a separate set are necessary, and considering recent events on our television screen, more and more businesses are saying this. Lastly, training improve workplace ethics by providing a regular ethic training to your staff. You can protect your company against unethical behavior, costly lawsuit, poor praise, lost time, money, and low employee morale. The second article is about study finance ethics can be taught in finance. According to the article, there are 4 things that study finance ethics can be taught in finance. The 4 things that study finance ethics can be taught in finance is rules and ethics training in financial market. Secondly, teaching good behavior. Thirdly, exam has a priming effect. And lastly, ethics matters. Firstly, rules and ethics training in financial markets. Since the Great Depression, federal and state regulators have prioritized investor protection. Financial representatives who want to sell investment advice at broker-dealer, firm, corporation that purchase and sell securities on behalf of customers must first become registered investment advisor, which require completing a series of exams. Secondly, teaching good behavior. Is it possible to teach ethics? The evidence point to yes. According to their new research between 2007 and 2017, their research approximately 1.2 million financial representative and investment advisor working at US broker dealers with emphasis on the impact of 2010 change to the Series 66 exam. According to the article, This is the first large scale study of how rules and ethic training affect financial industry behavior. Period 2000 to 2010, 8% of the exams question deal with regulation and ethics, while just 20% deal with technical topics. The exam was revised in 2010 to give equal weight to technical material and rules and ethics. In the response to call for additional instruction in technical areas. Thirdly, exam has a priming effect. The impact of the exemptions varies depending on the industry and corporate culture. They discovered that the exam reduction is regulation and ethic related content has the greatest impact on the less experienced investment advisors. Those who were already participating in misbehavior in their previous capacity as financial agent were unaffected by the drop in the ethic material. Lastly, ethic matters. Increased testing on technical materials could have a few advantages. Investment advisor may, for example, provide better advice to their client, an outcome that our study did not examine. Okay, the third article is about who's responsible, the ethic of the sharing economy. Firstly, the growth of a new company, Uber and related tech-based enterprise such as Airbnb, TaskRabbit, and BlaBlaCar. As part of the new sharing company, tech use the internet age is of data sharing and sense the trust in online communities. They offer opportunities for people to share their unused items, promising increased sustainability and democratization of the workplace, reinventing the way people do business, and as the name implies, promising mutual advantage and responsible activities. Secondly, the world's most successful startup. It's difficult to argue that Uber has been anything other than commercial success. The company has developed from an unlikely Silicon Valley startup to one of the world's most valuable privately held firm, with operation in over 500 cities and 10 billion US dollar in equity capital. In the 7 years since its establishment, Uber, on the other hand, has been chastised for its aggressive business practice. There have been allegations that the corporation pushed its drivers to make fictitious calls demanding thousands of rides in order to clock the service of an online competitor. Other arguments for regulating Airbnb include noise and other forms of disruption caused by short-term tenants in residential buildings. In addition to complaints from regular hotels and a loss of tax income, the company was also chastised for selling a rental apartment in a legal Israeli settlement in Palestine. The thirdly, mutual benefit and responsibility of a sharing company. Critics argue that in addition to forcing conventional competitors out of business, the new sharing company very structure in which large enterprise with wider network become more appealing to customers in producing monopolies in which one or two platform control whole market. As for profits companies, it's responsible to suggest the behemoths are more than just platform, and they should be held more accountable for the service they provide. Although it is the it is debatable whether they face the same level of obligation as, say, a taxi service and its commitment to its drivers. And lastly, control and flexibility. The sharing company isn't fully unregulated. It's regulated to same level by decentralized monitoring, which allow consumer to rate their Uber driver or Airbnb host. However, it is becoming clear that this is insufficient, and regulator agency must continue to play a role in ensuring that the company's successful organization in the so-called sharing company is not predicated on their ability and circumvent tax, regulation and laws. So for the conclusion, based on the three article book, first of all, in this three article book, we can learn about ethic in the workplace, and we also know that ethic can be taught in finance, and we know who will be held accountable if something goes wrong in your company. The first article concerns workplace ethic. In workplace ethic, we learn about positive workplace example, a new way the concept of ethic is resurfacing, and how training may help us improve our workplace ethic. The second article discusses a study that discovered that financial ethic can be taught. According to the article, the study discovered four things that ethic may be taught in finance. The first are financial market norms and ethic instruction, as well as teaching good behavior, a priming impact exam, and ethical consideration. The final piece outline will be held accountable for everything that occurs in your company. To begin, we understand how a new firm grows, the most successful startup, the share reward and obligation of sharing economy, and finally control and flexible. That's all from me. Thank you.